Good morning, everybody. It is Rolly, and welcome back to day 3 of doing the moon, working with the moon stuff, and your sun sign. And I'm just going to do that so that I can actually see in case somebody happens to. Hey, Lonnie, in case somebody happens to hop on. So I am moving some stuff around here. So we have covered the daily moons. We have covered the your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sun, which that one there got a lot of conversation. A lot of people are like, really? I didn't even know that. And there's still so much more with respect to your chart. I got my hair cut, but I'm still it's still not doing what I want it to do. But so I guess I'm still not going to be happy with my hair. For anybody that knows me and knows that they've been watching me for a while, my hair has been an issue. Okay, so I just wanted to go back and see my notes so that I can remember. So we talked about the 3 aspects. So our sun sign, our moon sign, and our ascendant sign. And that it is important to know your time of birth in order to be able to, your time of birth and your location in order to be able to get the information that you are looking for. And so I've been using this a lot because I have my glasses on and they've been driving me crazy. So, but anyway, so my hair is driving me crazy. My glasses are driving me crazy. It's just, yeah, can't wait till I can put my contacts back on. So, so the moon sign, the sun sign, and your ascendant sign, and you need to have your location of birth and your time of birth in order to be able to get some of that information. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to. So the other thing that we covered was we talked about the daily moons and how they affected us, as well as the moon phases. So the moon phases. So there's 8 different phases, and 4 of them are like pretty common for people. But then we talked about like the different phases that were actually going on that way. And then the other thing that that I did was I actually kind of gave you guys like a little snippet of something that we're going to be talking about today, is the houses and how those things kind of fall in and how the transits move around and that kind of thing. So when I'm talking transits, it's that the planets, the moon will actually go around each one of the planets, the moon goes around the entire Earth, going into each one of the planets, so like each one of the astrological signs in a month. So not the planets, in the astrological signs in a month. And so then that is something else that happens. So hey, Jill. And so it just really makes a difference as to where some of the things are actually going on. So the other thing that I didn't talk about yesterday was we talked about like how there's all these different signs. And then, but one of the things that I didn't cover yesterday was the void of course moon. So people are like, what is a void of course moon? What does that mean? So it means that it's void, that it's no longer there. But technically it's not really gone. And so it's when the moon shifts from one moon energy to the other moon energy that makes a difference. And so it's just really important to know that, so for example, if you are coming out of an Aries moon, then there's going to be that small little gap of like, you're just kind of coming out of the energy of one and moving into the energy of the other, which means that there's like just a really tiny little bit of energy that's happening. And sometimes it could be like an hour, 2 hours, it could be an entire day. But for the most part, it's usually generally a few hours, but it's that shift from one energy. So it would be going from Aries into Taurus energy. And so it's kind of like not really playing a whole lot of it's kind of like in the balance as to like whether or not like should we be focusing on Aries or should we be focusing on Taurus. It's that kind of in between stage between the two. And that's what the void of course moon is. And so starting Monday is that there's going to be the daily moon posts are actually going to start happening again so that people can actually know when things are happening, and then it's usually 24 hours before a cycle changes that those posts happen. So I'm really super excited to have Steph on board so that we can actually make sure that those things are happening again. And so we've switched schedulers. So because we were having some trouble with the scheduler, Facebook doesn't always cooperate with some of the third-party things that are happening. So, and that's one of the things that was going on, is it wasn't allowing the post to happen. So they were there and they were trying to post, but the last week has not posted with that program. And so when we reached out for help, apparently there's an issue. So because of some other things, we had already switched over to another scheduler. So we're going to just add that into that new scheduler. So that will be coming out. And so there may be some before that over the next couple of days, but for sure on Monday, those are going to start happening again with the new moon. So that way there people, so I post them on my Roly Allaire Holistic Life and Wellness Coach page, as well as the Bridging the Gap Wellness Center page. So if you are following me on either one of those two pages, then you'll have access to those posts. So they will be going back on. For those of you who've been missing them, they are going to be coming back on. And I also do them both on the Instagram pages on both of those. So Steph is helping me get those things organized. So super excited about that. And the other thing is that Steph has kind of let the cat out of the bag yesterday and had shared on the Bridging the Gap Wellness page that there is a new program that's coming out, and it's all about the stuff that we've been talking about. So there's a new program. It's a virtual program. Hey, Kristen, it's a virtual program. And so it will be happening in that group and or in that program. And so at the end, I will actually share an offer that is only going to be good until Monday. So it will be definitely something that you will want to jump on board with before Monday for the deal. You can obviously continue and sign up at any point after that, because it's not a closed program. So you can sign up at any time, but the deal is not going to be there after Monday. So, but now on to putting it all together. Okay, so I'm going to go back and share my screen and show you guys my screen. Okay, so this is my chart. So when we talk about the different houses, so first of all, I'm going to go back to the inside of the chart. So the inside of the chart is my natal chart. So the inside of the chart shows you what it is that I have going on in my chart. Yeah, that does help a little bit. Okay, so this is where I was born. So like everything that's in here is where I was born. And for those of you who were on the video for the first day, is that I showed you guys my Emrys necklace. And somebody had asked how to be able to get it. And so I found the link, and I'll actually share it in the comments for anybody who is interested in getting it. So but I'll share the link with you guys. And with that, they gave like a huge long description of like a whole lot of different things in terms of a reading. It was actually pretty accurate. Like I really loved, and like, because I get readings and stuff all the time. So I don't know why. I don't understand why it keeps taking me back to other dates than today's date. Hang on a second. I want to go back to the chart selection. So I'm just not sure why it keeps taking me into a different, there we go. So I obviously clicked on the wrong date. So, because I'm like, May 1970, I don't want to be in the 1970s. That's not what I want to focus on. Okay, so I had the wrong thing. So, but anyway, the information, basically the information is still the same. So the inside of the chart is your natal chart. So within, and this doesn't matter which program that you use. I'm using astro.com right now. But once I get familiar with the other program that I now have, then I'm going to be using that one instead. But because I'm very familiar with the astro.com, because I've been using this one for 3 years, give or take, that this is the one that I've been using the most to be able to help to understand. So it's just easier for me to be able to understand and share it. But the other program is definitely something that I'm going to be using all the time. So, but this is my sun sign, and my sun is in Aries because that symbol is for Aries. This one here is Chiron, and I'm not going to go through all of the planets, but this one's Chiron and then Mercury. So Mercury and my sun are pretty close together in my chart, but they're in what's referred to as 2 different houses. And so I'm going to talk more about the houses in a minute. I'm just kind of recapping. So my moon is in Aquarius, which is in the 7th house. And then I've got my ascending sign. So that's the sign that was rising when I was born. So it's like, so it actually, it goes across, right? So this is where I am here, and this is my ascending sign, and this becomes my first house. But again, we'll go through that part in a minute. I just want to kind of give you guys an idea. And then, so like, this is my rising sun that we've been talking about. This is my moon, and then this is my sun. And then this is a stellium because I have more than 3. And again, it depends on the astrologer that you work with. Sometimes a stellium for them will be 3. And so my the way that I've been taught is that a stellium is 4 or more. But it all kind of depends on what it is that you're doing. So one of the things that I like with astro.com is that, first of all, it's free. The program that I'm going to be using isn't free, but they might have a free version, but the one that I've got isn't free. But anyway, hey, Melissa. And so one of the things that I like about using Astro is that it'll actually tell you the information, like those basic information things. So like, this is like where I was born, the time that I was born. So I was born at that time, and then it converts it to the universal time. But you need to know your birth time in order for that to be able to have accurate information. But so it shows the in here, it shows like where all of your planets and stuff are. But the 3 that I focus on is the sun. So it shows that I'm in Aries. My moon shows that it's in Aquarius, and Leo shows that it is your ascending sign. So like if you go to use the astro.com and you pull up your natal chart and you're like, okay, well, great. Now I don't even know what any of this means. I don't know what any of these planet or symbols are. Then if you just scroll down using astro.com, then it'll actually tell you those. So the first 2, so your sun, your moon, and your Leo, and it'll tell you other stuff too. But these are the ones that that I focus on. And so that it just gives you that little bit of information so that you have that. Because the other part of it that makes a difference, but again, like this is when you're kind of diving in a little bit deeper and doing other stuff, is that it makes a difference, like when the degrees are and all that other stuff. So this here is helpful because then you don't have to count all your little dots and stuff, but it's just, but it's, like I said, it's not necessary. So like if you actually look on, I don't know how well that you guys can see that. So when I look at Pluto, for example, Pluto has like this extra long little line, which is in blue. And so, because you've got like all the little lines, and then you've got an extra line, little blue. And so then if you actually go down to look at Pluto, then it'll actually show you exactly where it was. So when I was born, Pluto was in retrograde. And so again, that is something else that, and the reason why I know that it's in retrograde is because there's a little R beside it. And so it's all these little things about the chart. So like there's a lot of different things and different aspects in a chart that you're like, oh, that is so cool. So like I had 4 planets that were in retrograde when I was born. So like, and so this inside is your snapshot and it doesn't change. So it's like your fingerprint. It's like, so that's the part that's inside my necklace. And so, so that part there doesn't change, and it makes, and that's just, and that's how this company was able to just create this, which is uniquely to me, like nobody else, like this will never belong to anyone else. And then, so then on the other part of it is that you have what's called the transits. So if you request so natal chart and transits, then the transits will tell you where things are right this second, right? So I don't necessarily check to see where my sun is, because I just don't. So that's not one of the areas that I actually focus. I focus on the moon sign, because I'm focusing on that internal dialogue that I have with myself, that internal self, that self-growth, which is one of the reasons why I use the moon. So I use the moon a lot to be able to do personal growth and to connect. So that's one of the things that over the last 3 to 4 years that I've actually been, I'm not quite 4 years, but I can't remember exactly when I had started, but like I know it's more than 3 years that I've been working with dealing with the moon stuff, and then really kind of diving in and digging in deeper with the moon stuff. And so that's where, so that's why I actually follow where is my moon on my progression. So other people will want to focus on where's everything else. So same as like when Mercury is happening. So right now Mercury is in here. So we always hear about the nasty Mercury. So Mercury is in my 12th house. And so when it was in retrograde, it was in my 12th house. And so it was connected, and you can actually tell. So you've got this little green line here. And so then it still keeps it into that 12th. So this one here is one of my nodes. And again, I'm not talking about those ones today, but like my node, but like it's pretty close, right? So it's pretty close to being on that cuff of which sign is it actually going to be in, right? So right now, like you can actually clearly see that it's here. But that's one of the things that, and I'm just using that one as an example because that's one of the ones that are actually really close. So same as this one here is also very close to like which sign, because these are your signs. And then, so which sign is it actually going into? So this one here is also really close. I don't think there's anyone, yeah, there's no other ones that are like really close. But it just makes, I just want to be able to show you that that little bit of time makes a little bit of a difference, because like these little, some of them will move very quickly, whereas others move very slowly around the Earth. And so each one of those are all the different planets. But the one, like I said, that I focus on is the moon, and where does the moon fall in which house? Okay, so now that's going to lead me into, and if you guys have any questions as we're going along, or if you guys are catching the replay going like, oh my God, I don't know what it is that you're talking about, just ask. And if it's a question that I know, then I will answer. If it's a question that I don't know, I will find the answer and I will get that to you. Because like I said, I've only been doing this for the last, working with this for the last 3 years. So there's still so much information, and I've taken it in small chunks. So the moon is the part that I actually focus the most with. And so I do check out the other planets and stuff now, and I do go beyond that. I actually work with the houses and stuff, but I always start off with giving you guys, I always suggest that you actually just start with just learning one part of it. So like, what are your three signs, and then check your horoscope on all 3 signs, right? So if you actually look at, if you already know your 3 signs and you're checking their horoscope, like whether it's in the newspaper or online or whatever, and you actually check your horoscope for all 3 of those signs, part of those 3 things will really apply to you as to like what's going on for you right now. And it's like and when you combine the 3 things together, it's kind of like, oh, that's how it all kind of fits together. It's really cool. So it just gives you that little bit of an edge that you don't have. And so, or that you didn't know, I should say, that you don't have, because the edge is already there. It just gives you that little bit of knowledge that helps you with that. Okay, so now the houses are in most charts have numbers. Right? So in most charts, I think I've only seen a couple of them that don't have the numbers listed for you, but for the most part, they are numbered. But the way that you know what your numbers are is that you're going to find this solid black line that is not necessarily split with the planets, right? So if I'm just going to pull up somebody else's chart, and just going to pull up my husband's chart. So like when I pull that up, so like it actually has, so here's all of his planets and stuff that are in here. And then but his line is coming across here, right? So Aries is up here. And then when I look over here, Aquarius is up here for me, right? So it has, because like, again, this has to do with my sign and what it is that's going on. So, but this line is always going to be the same, and same as this line is always good. So that one there goes horizontal and vertical, right? So I'm not talking about the MC, I'm talking about the AC. And so that's your ascendant sign. And so when you actually find your ascendant sign, then the ascendant sign will take you across. And then, so the very first place that it shows up is going to be in your first house. So this is my first house. And if you look at mine, and if you look at Sheldon's, the space between is a little bit bigger in Sheldon's first house than it is in my first house. And so that just has to do with the way that the division and stuff works. So, so my first house is in Leo. So that's where, so in your first house, this rules the way that you come across to the world. Right? So it has to do with your image and the way that other people see you, which is one of the things that I've already explained. So that is in your first house. And then it continues to go around. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And each one of those 12s are connected to your different planets. So now so how I show up in the world is number 1. And so then when I actually go back and look at Leo, so Leo is fun, creativity, kids, so your own or someone else's, and flirtation. So like then, so in my first house, this is what kind of, so how I show up in the world. And so anybody that knows me knows that I love to connect with kids, and whether they're my own or somebody else's, doesn't matter. I love hanging out with kids and doing stuff with kids. And so then you just kind of go around in here, and so you've got the next planet, you've got the next one, and so it's a different planet in that house, right? So and then in the second house, right, so your second house, and I'm not going to go through and talk about each one of the planets, because that was one of the things that we did earlier, so you can actually go back and rewatch some of the other videos. Or go and check out some of the other posts that are actually there. And if you need to find out where those posts are, then just shoot me a message or comment on here, and I will help you find and connect with some of those. But so then you go into your second house. So I'm actually going to just switch over to, so in your second house, this rules your property and possessions. And it's also about your values and self-worth. So when your moon, I'm actually going to go back and share. So just because, like, again, because I'm focusing and sharing on the moon. So when your moon is in, so like when the outside of the transit, so you're actually going through the transits. So now if the moon was all the way around to here into my second house somewhere, so that it was actually in here somewhere, then when the moon was in my second house, those are the parts that, so it's going to be property, possession, and all about your values and your self-worth. So when I actually look at where the moon is right now, it's in my 11th house. So the 11th house actually says, so the 11th house is the house of hopes and wishes, and it rules friends, connections, and social circles. And so that is where I'm connected right now, is to connecting with other people, and which is a great time for me to be able to be on live and share, is because of that connection and connecting with others. And so that could be online or that could be in person, but it's that connection is where I'm working at. And so now I'm going to go back to not sharing again. I might go back to sharing again, but so then you got your third house. So your third house, this is where you keep your communication skills, and it's all about short trips, siblings, and neighbors. And then your fourth house covers the part of your chart about your home and family and everything that entails with your private life. And so a lot of times, my private life isn't necessarily private. So when I go into, so when I'm in my 4th house, right? So right now I have nothing else that's going on the green part of it in my 4th house. So things are pretty quiet on that respect. But sometimes some of these planets will be in this area, or the moon might be in this area. So like that's just really important for us to be able to understand that part of things. Okay, so hey Melanie. And so in the 5th house this is the part of your chart that relates to sexy romance and creativity in children. And again, has to do not necessarily your own children. So it just has to do with those. So when it talks about children, it doesn't have to be your own children, because some people are like, well, that's in my chart, but like, I don't have kids. But how are you connecting with other people's kids? What is it that's going on with people's, so because you often have cousins, you have nieces or nephews or whatever, like it doesn't mean that they are your own children. So that's the other part. So this rule, so the 6th house, it rules your body, mind, well-being, and your daily work and health routine. So when the moon is in that aspect, is that in that house, that's where you really want to be focusing in on those particular things. But again, if you're just starting out, don't try and jump into all of it. Just take parts of it. So like, how is the daily moon affecting me? Where's my sun sign, my ascending sign, and just kind of keeping it into a smaller, but just being able to know that there's like other aspects of things that you can be concentrating on, or that you can be focusing on. And then you've got your 7th house. So the 7th house is about marriage, your beloved, your ex, people you consider enemies, commitment, and VIPs. So a lot around relationships. So the 7th house is around relationships. The 8th house is anything taboo. So such as sex, death, and taxes, and also other people's money or joint financial ventures. So like that's where things are going to come up for you in that aspect, in that house. And so the 9th house this is when you see the big picture, you expand your horizons. And so then the 9th house for me, and I'm actually going to go back to share my screen. So the 9th house for me is an aspect that so when things are in my 9th house, I need to be paying more attention. So that's why I actually pointed out these ones here as, so there's Chiron, right? So Chiron is in my 9th house. So when Chiron is focusing, then I'm paying attention to what's going on in my 9th house through Chiron. So Chiron usually refers back to old pain. It brings up stuff. And so when Chiron is in my 9th house, I'm really paying attention, because that's where it was when I was born. But it's also where my sun is. So this is where this is where I'm actually being seen. Like there's a lot of different things around there. So if my moon is in my 9th house, I'm paying a lot of attention, whatever it is that's going on in my 9th house, I'm paying a lot of attention to that one. And I'm also paying attention to when things are in my 10th house, because this is where it's pretty heavy in where I was born. So I'm paying more attention to my 9th and 10th house. Not that I'm not paying attention to my other houses, but I'm paying attention a lot when things are in my 9th and 10th house when I actually look at my chart. And so, okay, so that's the 9th house. And so that's your big picture, your great cosmic quest. And so like my whole purpose is all about like my quest and my purpose on earth, and what it is that I'm doing and where it is that I'm going. And so me teaching and sharing and connecting with others, and it really, really fits with what my purpose is for being here. So like that's why I pay really close attention to where things are, and when things are in my 9th house is that I'm paying most attention to that part. So the 10th house this is where it rules ambitions and career and life goals and what you're known for, your professional life. So in your 10th house, that's where you're wanting to be paying attention to what's going on in your career. This is a good time for evaluating and or changing when things are in that 10th house. And then you've got the 11th house, which is one of the things that I've already shared. So the 11th house is house of hopes, wishes, and rules, friends, connections, and your social circles. And so your 12th house that's really where you're connecting to that spirituality. That's the part of that's the most sensitive, right? So like this is where you're doing a lot of inner work. So when I'm going to go back to the chart again. So when you're coming back around to this part of things, so like my sun is in my 12th house. So like there's a lot of internal shifting and what is it that's going on. So this is where, so my sun is my Aries, right? So when we actually go back, I'm an Aries sun. So here is really connecting to a lot of my spirituality. What is that's going on? What is it that I'm needing to learn? That kind of thing. So that's what I'm focusing on if I'm focusing on my Aries sun. So there's a lot of really cool aspects. And like I said, it's not about being able to absorb it all, because it's taken me 3 years to learn the little bit that I've learned. And I'm saying there's a little bit because there's like so much more to be able to learn about. And unless you're like diving into astrology full time, you're only going to be taking little bits of it. And so a lot of us read our horoscope, right? So a lot of us grew up reading our horoscope. A lot of us still read our horoscope. So it's just really kind of cool to be able to pick up on some of those things of what do I need to know, and that kind of stuff. So like I said, if there's something that you're that I've shared that you're not sure about, let me know, and I can definitely answer your question. If I don't know the answer, then I will go and find the answer or see where I can try and find the answer. So being able to put it all together is, I'm just checking my note to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So putting it all together allows you to be able to get that deeper understanding of who you are, what it is. And like I said, for me, it's a lot in that ninth house, right? So a lot of like, what's my purpose in life? Where is it that I'm going? What is it that I'm doing? And so some people may have more emphasis on a different house. But again, we don't need to know the houses initially. You don't need to know where is it that it actually sits. It's just about being able to feel the energy of the moon. And so I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday who was talking about how she's really affected by the moon. And a lot of women are very affected by everybody's affected by the moon, but women are even more affected by the moon just because of the fact that it is a feminine energy. It is that connection. And but I have met some very intuitive, very connected men that actually are able to follow those emotions and follow those connections. So not to say that it's only women, but women are very much connected because it's a feminine energy. Men are very much connected to the solar energy, so the sun energy. And that's just because of our makeup, but it doesn't mean that we're not connected to both. It just means that one is more intense than the other based on that part. And one of the things that I think is really cool is people who are two-spirited are able to connect with both energies. And so very easily. So like everybody can connect with both energies, but people who are two-spirited are able to connect to both. So it's like super cool. And that's not something that I'm able to do because I'm not two-spirited, but I know many people who are two-spirited that are able to connect those two things. And I just think it's like super neat and super cool. And I love being able to hear some of their insights because of the fact that they've got both feet on both sides, right? So like they're on both sides of the, they're standing on both sides. So both feet are in both energies. So it's like super cool. But anyway, that's just my own thing. And so now that leads me to share about the new program that I was actually talking about. So if you want to be able to learn more about how to be able to connect with your daily moons and how to be able to connect with the moon phases, and if you've been following me for a while, or that you've worked with me, we already do a lot of those different things in different aspects. So like it's always little kind of snippets of things. So like in Soulful Life Hacks, for example, we're really diving into learning a lot more about who we are. And so like this month, we're really focusing on who we are as part of our sun, right? So like we're focusing a lot on who are we. We're doing a lot of investigating as to who we are from like what other people see. And then next month, we're actually going to be focusing more internally, right? So this is what other people see. This is what we actually do. And then we're actually going to be focusing in on who we are. And then in the third month of this season, we're going to be focusing on combining the two together through human design. I have a friend who actually teaches that, who's actually a guest in that program. So yes, a lot of the things were going to be similar in Soulful Life Hacks. So if somebody's in Soulful Life Hacks, it's not the same. It's going to be a little bit different. And so, because somebody said, well, I'm already in this one, so should I be signing up for both? And that's entirely up to you. But both two things are going to have different information. So just so that you know that. And so what you're going to get out of this program. So it's actually called Insider Moon Energy. And Insider Moon Energy is, so I, me for short, right? So I've got I and then Moon Energy, me. So I just thought that was actually kind of cool. So it's the I, me program, but it's called Insider Moon Energy. And so it's a brand new program. It's brand new membership that I'm actually doing. And so it's not something that I have really focused on. I've done like small courses and small classes and stuff on these aspects, but like this is what we're actually going to be focusing on all the time in this program. And a lot of it is that daily moon and like, where's the moon today? And so what moon energy are we focusing on? And again, depending on what level that you're at, you may be looking at what house that you're in. Other people will not be. So it all kind of depends on where are you at. But focusing on that daily energy is what we're going to be focusing on, as well as what moon phase are we in. And during that moon phase and one of the things that I shared yesterday in the moon phase is, in that moon phase, what are some of the things that we need to be focusing on? So are we setting intentions? Are we taking action? Are we resting? Are we releasing? Like, what are some of the things around that moon energy that we're doing? And so in Holistic Wellness Lounge is that typically on Saturdays, I haven't done it for the last couple of Saturdays, is that I often share, this is the moon energy that we're in for the week. And what phase that we're in, and when I'm doing card pulls is like kind of around that energy. But I haven't done that for the last couple weeks, but I'm not doing it again this week. But that's one of the things that I offer in that free group. So it just gives you that little bit of a perspective. So if somebody else is saying, oh yeah, well I'm in that group and I get some of that information. And so, but like this is again more in depth so that it gives you that little bit. And so what you're actually going to get from being in this program. So you get the daily moon energy and an affirmation. And then you get members only live online new moon ritual. So on every new moon is that there's going to be a live new moon ritual that we're going to do together, and that you can ask questions. We can kind of go through. So we do the ritual, and then we do, and then there's questions and things like that. And so and then each week there's a new mindfulness meditation that's going to actually be able to enhance how you're feeling with the situations that are going on. And you're going to have a monthly overview of the month ahead. So like, here's what's coming up, guys. Like, this is the moon, like this is the phases, this is what's happening. And so you're going to have a summary of like, this is what energies are coming up, so that you can kind of have an idea of what's going on. So if you have to make some big decisions that you know that you're not going to make them during this time frame, whatever, that kind of stuff. And then you're going to have a new and a full moon guided meditation. So every month you're going to have a guided meditation specific to each one of the moons. And the monthly mantra is released with the new moon. So each new moon, you're going to have a new monthly mantra. So it's like, so whatever that moon energy is going to be. So we're actually new moon in Cancer starting on Monday. And so there's going to be a mantra specific to being able to remind yourself that like, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do, that kind of thing. So, and that's going to change with each new moon. And then info sheets. And so I'm going to have, and they're going to be on Google Docs, so that you can have that you can actually go ahead and fill them out, and so that you have them. I might do them on Jot forms, but right now at this point, it looks like I'm going to be doing them on Google Docs. But either way, there's going to be a form for you to be able to fill out. You're actually going to get that form in the mail, like in your email, so that you can then print it off, and so that you actually have access to the information that you put on there. So like there's going to be like based on this new moon, this new moon or this full moon, like these are some of the things that you want to change. And the reason why new moon and full moon is because you're in different energies by the time that you go in. So when you're in the new moon, you're going to be in the opposite sign when the full moon comes along. So, and then it just kind of shifts, right? Because that's the way that the moon, that's the way that the moon moves around. And then you're going to have a daily moon group message. And you're going to have access to a private Facebook group. You're going to have some weekly emails to be able to get started for every week, so that way there you're actually going to know what it is that's happening, and just to be able to help keep things going. And obviously, of course, like if you don't have to focus on all of those things, you can still focus on just, so if only you're focusing on the daily moon, or only you're focusing on, but like all these different tools are going to be there, so that that actually helps you. And you'll have access to a private Facebook group, and that's where the daily messages are going to come from. And then you're going to have a private reading discount, so that anybody who wants to be able to get a personalized reading from me, from whether it's a card reading or whatever reading it is that you want to be able to get, you get 50% off all of those. You'll actually get your own private code for your duration of your membership. And so the cost of that is, so there's 3 different options, and these 3 options go away on Monday. And so so there's a lifetime membership. And so if you pay $222 a month, or $222 for lifetime. So it's a lifetime access for $222, and you get this for as long as you're a member. And then the other option is, so the cost is monthly, $9.99 a month. And so, and again, this offer ends on Monday. So it's $9.99 a month, but regularly it's $14.99. And so you will have access to it lifetime at $9.99 for as long as your membership is valid. And so if you cancel 2 months down the road and then come to join back again, it's going to be $14.99. So like that's where the difference is. And then if you or the other option is doing an annual subscription. So if you join for annually, then that one there is $15.94 for the year, which is 50% off of the $9.99 per month. So if you do $9.99 times 12, and then you divide that by 2, that gives you the $59.94 for the year. But the annual price for, and I didn't put it down in this one, so hang on a second. So the annual will only be 25% off when you get to the will only be 25% off when you do the $14.99 times 12 divided by, or like minus 25%. So that one there is the regular price for that is $134.91. So if you sign up for the annual at $59.94, you stay at that $59.94 even when the price goes up to $139.91. Which happens on Monday. So it'll actually switch over on Monday, so that the annual cost will be $134.91 for the year. It will be $14.99 a month instead of $9.99 a month. And the $222 for the lifetime access will be gone on Monday as well. So you have 3 different options of being able to sign up. And whoever it is, and I can't remember, I should have wrote down her name, but whoever it is that won the free gift from me in the Northern Ontario market has lifetime access. So she actually has a free lifetime access to the program, and that was her gift. So she's actually, so the value for that is $222, and so she has lifetime access to that as part of that free gift in the in that program. So I will make an announcement to her, because we didn't share, because my name was chosen as the vendor who was supposed to share the winner. And so, hey, Darlene. And so I didn't share what it was, because I wanted to wait till today to be able to share that. But like I said, it all goes away. These prices all go away on Monday. So the program will continue. Everything else, you'll still have access to all those other things. But at $14.99 a month instead of $9.99 a month, or $59.90, it'll be $134.91 a year, or instead of $59.94, and the lifetime access one will be gone on Monday. That one there will not exist after Monday. So like those are the different options that are available. And like I said, if you guys have any more questions, let me know. Definitely would love to be able to help you guys with any of those questions that you guys have. And but yeah, definitely love talking about all these different things and how that happens. And so I'm going to work with you guys to stay connected to your daily energy and how that is actually working for you. And like I said, so eventually it'll be, and different people are going to work at different levels depending on where they're at. So so if you've already been working on it and working with it, and you want to be able to kind of dive in a little bit deeper, then we'll be able to do that as well. So those are the different things that we're focusing on. But it's all about our moon, it's all about our energies and working with the moon energy and how that fits. So so thanks, guys. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. And I am super excited to have sent this out. And so whoever it is that is on my email list, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the email should have already gone out with the with this offer. And so if you are interested, let me know, and I will definitely get you guys the links to sign up. So I will chat later, and have a great day, and talk soon. Bye for now.